Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the Samsung Galaxy Note 7. This is the Verizon variant in titanium silver, 64 gigs of internal storage that is expandable using the micro SD card slot for those of you that are wondering. In terms of what's inside the box, you have the Note 7 itself, of course a pre-installed SIM card. This is Verizon after all, and then you also have a wall charger, USB charger, which you'll see in a moment, a stereo headset, USB connector, a micro USB connector, that's an adapter because this does use Type-C charging out of the box, a quick reference guide, and product safety warning, reading literature. Outside of that, let's get this thing out of the box. Of course, the S Pen being highlighted right there on the left side of the box. And I am excited to share this phone with all of you, even though it is incredibly expensive, over $800 US, no matter what carrier you go with, you are looking at the best of the best here, not just in terms of what's available right now in the smartphone marketplace, but really in terms of what Samsung has come to have at their disposal here in just about almost we're getting close to 2017. So the first thing you're going to notice is the 5.7-inch display. Now, this is a dual edge, so we have a curved Super AMOLED display, 2560 by 1440, which has become somewhat standard for Samsung, no question about it. But in terms of overall performance, this handset is anything but standard. We now have an iris scanner in order to unlock the phone, not just a fingerprint scanner down here anymore, but iris scanner. I mentioned before expandable memory. Samsung actually has a promo going on right now that if you purchase this phone, you do get the option, I believe it's through the 28th of August, that's when the promotion ends, to pick either a Fit 2 or a 256 gig micro SD card to get for free for your brand new Note 7. So keep that in mind. A nice freebie from Samsung, but again, this is the most expensive phone in the world right now, so it makes sense. In terms of what's underneath the hood, beyond this great looking display, and what I would say is one of the best looking phones on the market, and I'll get to cameras, things of that nature a little bit later, you're looking at a Qualcomm processor. This is a 64-bit quad-core chip. This is the 820 for those of you wondering. Graphics performance here also going to be slightly superior to that of the Exynos variant, which is the international version of this phone. In terms of battery life, you're looking at a 3500 milliamp battery. You've got 4 gigs of RAM. I mentioned before the 64 gigs of internal storage, which can be upgraded to 256 gigs with that free card if you pick this up again before the 28th and want to do the rebate. In terms of cameras, I mentioned you have a front-facing, well, I mentioned the cameras. Front-facing, you've got 5 megapixels. On the rear, we've got a 12-megapixel camera. This is essentially the same camera setup that we have with the 7 Edge right now, so that they just pulled from that phone, which makes sense. Again, this is combining the best of what Samsung has currently. This does support wireless charging and more importantly, fast wireless charging, even though it's not incredibly fast, certainly better than what has been on the market for many years now. Type-C charging through the port here at the bottom is going to be much faster than what you've experienced in the past. I think it does a full charge in roughly an hour, so it doesn't blow away the competition from days past, but it certainly is faster. We have our SIM card slot pin opener right there. Let's see what else is in the packaging here. I mentioned already the actual charging cable, which is right here, which is a Type-C cable right there. And then we have the wall adapter for that Type-C connector. This shouldn't look new to you. It looks just like every other fast charger that Samsung has ever made. But then they've also included micro USB adapters so that you can more easily integrate this into your lifestyle, because they already know not everyone has the capability to support Type-C beyond what they're giving you here in the package. And then we have some included headphones, as I mentioned before, something Samsung is doing more and more often, or has been now for a few years. Beyond that, we have down here, I believe, some replacement S Pen tips. That's what I think I'm looking at. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking at. And that's pretty much it. So let me get the box out of here. And in terms of the phone itself, I mentioned the quad-core processor that's in here. I've mentioned the RAM, the 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of internal storage. Of course, you have best in class of everything, including software right now. You are getting Marshmallow 6.0.1 out of the box, overlaid with TouchWiz. Love it or hate it, this is the best version yet. It only improves, and I really do think that it gets a bad rap when often it could arguably be the best experience in many ways, most productive, most intuitive outside of going with a Nexus device. That's just my opinion, of course. We also have IP68 rating now when it comes to water and dust resiliency. So yes, this can go underwater for those of you that do want a waterproof phone. You've got it here. Of course, that's more of a marketing spec. I mean, I think it's good to have, not necessary, of course, but definitely nice to have. Your power button right here on the right-hand side of the phone. Left-hand side of the phone, you have your volume rocker right here. At the top of the phone, we have our SIM card slot. And beyond that, I mentioned before, we've got a front-facing camera. We also have the iris scanner, new feature I mentioned, where you can unlock your phone using your eye. The S Pen right here, which simply ejects with a press of a button. No more inserting it incorrectly. Of course, that's been resolved. There's no right or wrong way to put the S Pen in your speaker. Not in love that it's here at the bottom, but I could think of worse things. The USB Type-C connector right here for charging, and your 3.5mm headphone jack right there. Otherwise, the body pretty much clean, nothing else to show you. On the back, we do have our 12-megapixel camera that I mentioned before, flash, and really everything else is exactly as you'd expect. I mean, it looks a lot like its S7 Edge brethren, key difference being that it just has just about everything else on this phone is improved. It doesn't mean if you have an S7 Edge you need to run out and pick up the brand new Note, but I could understand why some owners will have wished they had waited, because it wasn't that far around the corner, and the S7 Edge was far from an inexpensive handset, or the S7 for that matter. But right now, no question about it, the Note 7 is the cream of the crop. I'll see if it boots up right here. I'm not sure that it has a charge. But I will save, going over what this phone can do for another video, clearly. But again, a gorgeous screen, great processor, supported by, I would say, a very solid amount of RAM, storage, expandable storage, wireless charging. I mean, the S Pen only getting better. There's really nothing here that I could mention that I feel is missing or that I felt came up short. I think that, Samsung has done this right. And that's why the Note 7 across the board is getting fantastic feedback. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.